Hi guys, so we are back for our Book of Shadows series, and we actually just found out some interesting stuff. So the next thing that I said we were going to talk about was the Witch's Creed, and why we thought we should have it in there and anything like that. Well, when I found this, I had just found it and printed it out. Like, I pretty much searched all Wiccan type writings, and
anything that felt like it was nice, or we felt, that meant something to us, we printed it out, and gone about it and planned to do research later, and of course jobs and stuff comes up.
We're looking at it today, and we're pretty much seeing similarities between it and the Reed. So
we were planning on sitting here reading it for you, but it's 2 pages.
It's 2 pages long. So it talks about, like, the Sabbats,
what to do on them, and
the moon phases, and everything like that. So what we did is we actually went online to see what the meaning of it was and all that kind of stuff, because we don't have many books. Like, there's nothing in here other than the actual printed Witch's Creed in here. There's nothing else about it in here. So we went online, and it was showing us the Reed and the Creed, and then one website said...
I can probably find it if you give me 1 second.
Said some other stuff, and we weren't getting a definitive answer, so I was like, well, we don't need it in here then if we don't know what it's about. I mean, it's a nice little piece of work, a piece of writing, so maybe we could have it framed and put up somewhere. It's nice in spoken word. Did you find it?
And it's nice to look at also if the wind's coming heavy a certain way, and it's like, what should I do? I have this urge to do something or something. That was the Creed. The Reed, sorry. But still, something like that. The Sabbat.
Yeah, the 4 Sabbats are summoned again, which is gather and feed. Like, and then it talks about the god and the goddess. It talks about, and do what you will, be the challenge, so be it in love that harms none. For this is the only commandment by magic of old, be it done. 8 words of the Witch's Creed fulfilled. If it harm none, do what you will.
And that's what got me curious. Is that's pretty much the same what it boils down to in the Reed. Is that's it? So why would there be 2?
And then so that other thing we found.
It says to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. These are the 4 words of the Magus. In order to dare, we must know. In order to will, we must dare. In order we must will to possess empire. To reign, we must be silent. And then it goes on to tell you what to know, to dare, to will, and to keep silent means. And that's completely different.
Completely different. And then we found...
Excuse me 1 second.
...out who wrote the Witch's Creed. And then we looked a little bit back into who she was. And it's almost like the Witch's Creed was the first Reed, and then the Reed was adapted after that and put into a different form of writing.
And it may have been the opposite way. That's just, from a quick 10-15 minute thing, that's what it would seem like.
Yes. So we did research, and so pretty much this one is going to be telling you about somebody that we didn't know about that we feel we probably should have known about. So a lot of people know who Gerald Gardner is. A lot of people know who, like, Scott Cunningham is and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think most people know who Doreen
Valiente was a Spaniard, so I would assume Valiente would be it.
Oh my god.
Heavy?
That's her name right there.
She knew Gardner, didn't she?
She knew Gardner. So she was actually interested in witchcraft before she met Gardner.
Her husband, I believe, with her were in the spells and the rituals and stuff, and
yeah, and so she was an English witch and one of the most influential persons to have shaped the evolution of the modern witchcraft. Her association with Gerald Gardner led her to initiation in 1953. So she was
initiated
in her
into the-
30s.
Yeah.
She then helped Gardner embellish numerous rituals and texts that he claimed had been passed down in a fragmented form to the new forest witches of England.
Yeah, and it
So
goes on that it was the...
She pretty much was the writer. Like, he said that, that these phrases were passed down and she put them into full words.
Yeah, it was the witch's... the charge of the goddess. She is known for that, and the witch's rune I haven't had the pleasure of seeing yet, so...
Yeah.
But that's... And she went on to, after she left the coven, right, with Gardner,
Yeah.
and ended up forming her own, and then to later on just become a solitary practitioner, just by herself, and just...
Yeah.
And apparently finding out that there's a whole
There's
trust
a
for
trust
her,
fund,
a trust, location that everyone, it can't be split up or sold, it's
everything that she had that was witchy. Like, all of her texts that Gardner doesn't have
published
copyright to. So all of her original texts. So, like, the Witch's Creed in this book of whatever, the Encyclopedia of Witches, this, it's under her name. Whereas, like, you have the Reed, which is under traditional, based upon a Gardnerian version from the Book of Shadows. So, thinking at it and looking at it, yeah, maybe, Gardner is the more known name. But I'm thinking that this lady might deserve some props for what she did.
I think without her, Gardner probably wouldn't have been able to have a name up to where he does now. And maybe she does have a bigger name around here, but the problem is, like, a lot of, I know from the States, I really never heard about Britain. Or anywhere over there, and that's where everything is, correct?
Yeah.
So, maybe that's why?
And there's a lot about Gardner that I didn't know either. But I knew who he was. Like, I knew going into Wicca that it was, like, the people that you read from were, like, Raymond Buckland, Scott Cunningham. You read about Gerald Gardner all the time, especially in Raymond Buckland's books.
I love Buckland. I'm pretty sure it was my aunt. It's either she went to a seminar of Buckland and has an autographed copy before.
Yeah, but you never hear about her. And it's funny that I just came across this. So we're not sure if we're going to keep this in our...
Yeah, because it's pretty long no matter how you print it. I mean, we might be able to make a frame or something, but...
I mean, I think it's good to have opened our minds to the fact that, even though we're creating our own way of, like, looking at everything, and we look at stuff from many different forms, like,
And we don't agree about everything either, so, and this is something that was hard put in front of us that I was looking up and just trying to find reliable sources, and I went to someone's name, which is normally better, and when I looked at the book, I was like, that's the same person. I was like, well, who is this, right? Well,
so it's more of a personal...
if you want to get to know.
incantation type thing that
Yeah.
she has written, publicized so that people can see it, and it's just a way of kind of making you aware of stuff. But it's funny because at the end of the Wiccan read, the long one that I didn't read in the last video, it says, in these 8 words the Wiccan read fulfill, and ye harm none, do what ye will.
Which take away the ye's and all that, you have the exact same 8 words
Last
at the end.
words of the Witch's Creed, which are 8 words the Witch's Creed fulfill. If it harms none, do what you will.
So, and that's what makes me think that perhaps the reed was always there, and the creed was kind of bended from that, and to go into a deeper explanation of other things. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that would be a textual thing that you would have to look at and read and see if that's something that you want in your book. I don't think we're going to put it in our book, because I think the creed kind of simplifies it, but... I think they're completely different, honestly. I think they're different minus that last little bit about...
I do. I think it covers different things. I don't... Because the reed is mostly our law, right? Kind of thing, like the
Yeah,
you know,
this one's almost
what
like
you
our
follow.
history and stuff.
Exactly, that, you know, we had to hide, and right, the secrets and stuff, because we, you know, Wiccas and pagans, you know, witches, whatever you follow, weren't always able to be out like we are right now, and some still aren't. So I think you're completely right on that. That it delves more into the history and
Yeah.
where they come from, and to me that's.
Kind of more basic.
If you put it in your Book of Shadows,
Rather
and
than
maybe if
general.
we choose to, there'll be like a history section of stuff that we look into, right? That,
Yeah.
that interests us in the personal history of it.
But yeah, that really depends on what you choose to do as your path, right? Because it's, I mean,
Like honestly, we don't celebrate the Sabbath like we should. It's a bit, I hate to say difficult, because there's always a way. We try, but you know, that doesn't mean that we don't follow this, though. That doesn't mean that we're not witches and Wicca when we come home. That's
yeah.
as long
So,
as
I
you
mean-
believe. So.
This video wasn't very informative to you because, I mean, after looking at it, I was quite confused myself. So, yeah. But I told you last time that I was going to do it, so I figured I would let you know. I'm not, like, honestly, I'm not going to read this because this is a shorter version of the one than the book, and not going to read it. There's a lot
Especially
of
with the way you're
tongue,
speaking
yeah.
today.
There's a lot of tongue twisters in here, and I'm not going to read it. But search it up. If you search it and the read comes up, make sure you're specifically looking for something that starts, "Hear now the words of the witches." Because if it doesn't start with
Yeah.
that, it's not the creed. It's actually the read.
Well, it depends. The creed that I found was like what,
Couldn't believe it.
8 things, but I searched up the witch's creed on Google on my phone, and about 4 down it came up, and it's that Dorian Valiente dot something, and that's how you know that that's regarding what we're speaking of.
The one. Yeah. But, so yeah, I just decided I'd go over it and kind of let you know what we know about it, because that's all we know about it. Because that's what I said I was going to do. But I figured that we should do it. So the next one we're going to do is the Law of Return, which
Or
is
karma,
karma, or the threefold,
depending on how.
how you look at it. Yeah, so we'll do that next time.
We have quite a bit looked up on that, and
We
it
told
that
you
that
last
all.
time. We're into the Law of Three.
And that also depends. Some people I know believe in karma, but don't believe in the threefold. You know, they believe just what you give in, you get back, not what you give in, you get more.
Back times 3, yeah. So
You know, it all depends on.
yeah. So that's going to be the next video, and then the one after that is going to be the 13 Goals of a Witch.
Which I don't know much of personally. I know that sounds terrible, but
I don't know either, but I think we might...
we'll do some research in the coming weeks of figuring it out, because that's the whole point of this, right? Is to get back on
and then
track.
after that is the big one, which is going to have to be divided up
Multiple.
into several videos, which is the 161 Laws of Witchcraft. Well, Wicca. Wiccan laws.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
so stay tuned.
this video is shorter than the last few, so.
It is, yeah. Okay, bye.